If you are feeling stuck in a funk, that what am I even doing? Does any of this even matter anymore type feeling? I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I'm going to keep it all the way 100. Your girl was there just this morning. I still feel remnants of it, but it's that feeling that just sits on you. And so this morning I was doing what most of us do when that feeling sits. You try to scroll your way out of it on the social media streets. And I was on Facebook and I stumbled across a post in a reading group that I'm a part of. And the poster asked the question, what books changed your mindset and helped you grow? And I said, oh, let me help her out. Isn't it funny how the thing you need shows up exactly when you need it? And so, anywho, that snapped me out of it. So today I'm going to share 5 books that helped me grow and get out of my own way. I'm also going to share a bonus tip for you. It's not a book, but when I look back over the last 3 years and some of the success I've had with getting out of my own way and really reinventing my life, this tip has been game changing for me. So, book number 1, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I read that book in 2018. And for me, at the time that I read that book, y'all, I was in a relationship that was ending. My career business was at a standstill. And I was in a funk for quite a few months. And I realized that part of my issue, and this is the issue for many of us, most of our suffering comes from our brain staying stuck in the past, regretting or trying to change whatever happened, or running ahead in the future, right? You're worrying about what might happen. And so the power of now really helped me realize that the only moment that you can ever control is the moment that you have before you. And so that book taught me how to anchor myself in the present moment, which is especially powerful for me and my line of work when I am coaching someone through speaking up more confidently or trying to navigate a difficult conversation, dealing with resistance or pushback at work. What makes it difficult isn't the conversation itself, it's the story we tell ourselves about it. And so helping a person get to the present moment to focus on what you can control is often your superpower. A huge thing that I was struggling with at that moment was outer purpose. Many of us struggle with that at different points in our lives. Like, what is our purpose? And so there was a part I highlighted in that book. It resonated, like it stuck with me, but it didn't fully land for me at the time. And it said something like, the sooner you realize that your outer purpose cannot give you lasting fulfillment, the better off you'll be. And it wasn't really, though, until a year later, I'm sitting in my therapist's office and she asked me, what brings you joy? And y'all, I was so embarrassed. I could not answer. I sat there, stumped. And that's when it clicked. Everything that I thought would bring me joy was outside of me. It was those conditions that were set up for me to experience the career success, the relationship working out, my business thriving. I was looking for fulfillment in my outer purpose. And so that moment was a connect the dots moment that from the Power of Now book and my therapist, and it really sent me on a journey to discover what actually brings me joy from within. And that's when my real transformation started to unfold. And through reading that book, it really helped me to become more of a witness of my thoughts and emotions, which is essentially really important to being present and focusing on what you can control rather than taking your thoughts as a fact. It also helped me realize that we all have cycles of success when things come to you and thrive, and then cycles of failure. And the reality is you have to let both of them go to make room for the new things to arise. And so even this morning, I just found myself saying, okay, Kenzie, I'm going to stick to my win before 10 routine, which I'll get to in a second. And if you are still feeling the same way, we are just going to allow ourselves to sit in it for a moment. And so I do feel like most of us try to beat ourselves up about getting out of it, but the power of now helped me to sometimes just allow things to be and know that I can move my way out of it. The second book that I recommend is The Four Agreements by Don Ruiz. And that book, it's really small. You could carry that book every single day. But the four agreements to me are tools for daily living. The book emphasizes that we've been conditioned by society to live according to agreements we never chose. Like we are born, even in our families, we are born into a set of agreements. And so we really have to spend some time unlearning and replacing those limiting agreements with the four new ones that he introduces us to. And so the agreements really are commitments that you make for yourself. So the four agreements are: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. And here's the thing, while these principles that I just listed sound really simple, I want you to keep it real with yourself. Do you know how hard it is to go throughout the day without making assumptions? We're making assumptions on why people are late, why someone hasn't responded to our text messages. So although these are simple, I believe they transform your life by freeing some of the self-limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves and the unnecessary suffering that we also cause for ourselves. For instance, making assumptions. Now, when it comes to what the book has done for my life, there are two agreements that really have changed how I think and show up. One, be impeccable with your word. When I initially heard speak with integrity and be impeccable with your word, you would think that it's about other people, but he stresses that being impeccable with your word includes honoring the commitments and promises you make to yourself, not just how you speak to or about others, but the things that you say to yourself. And I'm gonna just keep it all the way 100 since I'm trying to filter my way out of this little funk that I'm in. 9 times out of 10, the reason why I'm in a funk is because there's a promise that I possibly didn't keep to myself. And we often feel the worst when you make a promise to yourself or you say you're going to do something and you're still in that period of just ruminating on it but not doing it. And so then you're breaking your word to yourself. And this breaks down trust within yourself and even the self-respect that you have. So the agreement is not only about other people, it's about yourself. Now, the other agreement that sticks with me is always do your best. And for me, I've learned my best is temporary. What's best for me right now may not be best for me tomorrow or best for me next week. Your best will vary depending on your circumstances. So some days will be better than others. But if you always know, I'm just going to do my best, you can avoid the self-judgment, regret, and the self-abuse that we do to ourselves. Even today, my question to myself was, what's the smallest thing that I can do that's going to contribute to my health and well-being? How can I be a bit more kind to myself in this moment? But when you read that book, one of those four agreements may be your favorites. And lastly, I'll say this about the four agreements. In my work with leaders, the third one, don't make assumptions. Finding the courage to ask questions, to express what you really want clearly, to avoid misunderstandings, to avoid ruining your relationship. Because again, in helping people to have these difficult conversations and maintain their composure under pressure, a lot of that is rooted in assumptions. So he goes into that. Okay, so let's move on to my third book, Acts of Faith by Ian Van Zandt. For me, one of the things about changing your mindset so you can grow is that we have to realize one book is not going to do the trick, and it's a daily practice. And so that book, it's set up for you to read by date. And so the premise is my faith isn't just something I practice on a Sunday, it's daily discipline that can shape how you choose to show up. And so this book gave me many stories, daily affirmations, and reflections. I'm a question girl. So I love reflections and prompts that help me build the know how that I need to show up. It reinforced that one, my relationship with God is a foundation for everything that I do. But most importantly, the messages are so profound that it really helps me focus, set an intention, and just take the smallest action possible to live that intention that day. Now, speaking of actions, let's talk about the fourth book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Y'all, Atomic Habits by James Clear changed my life. So the book is about how small, consistent actions compound over time. Most of us think that when we are trying to grow or change, we need to overhaul one massive thing. And you don't need massive transformation overnight. Baby steps count too. You just need to show up 1% better each day. Another powerful takeaway for me was his focus on identity. And so he says the most effective way to change your behavior is to focus on who you wish to become, not what you want to achieve. So it's like you could sit around all day and talk about, I want to run a 5K. But the reality is, it's just not about running the 5K. It's about becoming a runner. And so for me, even when I looked at how I could run my 5K, the smallest action that I could take is to at least commit to 2 minutes of walking, 10 minutes of walking, or 20 minutes of walking, at least 5 days a week, to become that person who can successfully run a 5K. And guess what? Your girl did that, right? And so I say all of that to say, it's just not about the thing that you want to do. It's about changing your habits through repetition. You just need to start creating that evidence for yourself. This is how I've been able to build 3 years of consistently working out and exercising, 5 years more of being more mindful about the foods that I put into my body, not by being perfect, but by being consistent. But I had to change my mindset around the time that it actually takes to change your life. And so if you are a consistent listener of the podcast, I talk a lot about my win before 10 principle, where I take 2 minutes, 10 minutes, or 20 minutes to focus on my wellness, to focus on something that brings me joy. Those principles came from Atomic Habits by James Clear. I cannot recommend that book enough. Before we get into book number 5, let me know which book resonates with where you are in life, or possibly what you need in life. Or if you have a life-changing book that's helped you out, or a podcast, or a routine, or anything like that, your girl is always interested in different perspectives. So share with me in the comments. Now, book number 5, Let Them by Mel Robbins. So here's the thing. When we are trying to change our mindset and grow, one of the biggest things that gets in our way is control. Our desire to control outcomes, our desire to people please, constantly trying to manage what other people think about us, over explaining or over justifying your decisions to other people and your family, friends, what have you. You are losing sleep over what someone said or didn't say. And when we think about growing and changing, we have to recognize that sometimes just because it feels bad doesn't mean it is bad. And we also have to set boundaries with people who keep crossing them. Or maybe the reason you're stuck is because you're waiting for someone else to change or to finally see you, or you're feeling hurt that people aren't showing up in the way that you expected. And so the premise of the book is let them. It gives you permission to release the grip you have on the uncontrollable, other people's thoughts, feelings, choices, actions, and let you focus on what you can do to reclaim your power. Now I'm simplifying it because she does take you through a journey of various scenarios and friendships and families, work, etc., and ways that you can work through them in a way that's healthy and productive for you. And I have to say that a huge part of reading this book was validating for my past self. I've had situations, even in my own family, where I had to release control. And people always say, just let it go. But letting it go is easier said than done, first of all. And so I knew what this person was doing was detrimental to themselves and will probably involve me doing the fixing. But learning how to let them has been a journey, but it's been also freeing for me. On the other hand, this book also helped me release comparison. When you're not moving according to a timeline that's self-imposed or society imposed, let them also applies to that too. Let them move at their own pace and let yourself move at yours. And so I highly recommend the book Let Them. Now for the bonus tip. It's the one thing that made all 5 books actually stick for me. When you make space in your body, you can make space in your mind. Making space in your body comes down to exercise, movement, dance, even 2 minutes of stretching. It's just not enough to read the book if you are not acting on what you've learned. And there has to be space sometimes in your mind for you to take action on it. If your mind is more occupied with limiting thoughts, or your mind is constantly stuck in the past or trying to run ahead to the future, none of these tips, they're going to last for a minute, but not for a lifetime. And so for me, sometimes the pent up energy, your thoughts that you're holding is an energy in your body. It feels like tension in your shoulders or your chest or your legs or what have you. And so sometimes for me, a good stretch creates the space for a healthier mindset and the actions that will follow it. The reason why I say that Atomic Habits was really life-changing for me is at that time I wanted to develop a healthy wellness routine that included exercising. So I learned how to swim at 48 years old. And guess what? Now your girl could swim 50 laps before breakfast. I practice yoga at least 4 to 5 times a week in the morning, 20-minute segments. Once a week, I take an African dance class. Ultimately, that book gave me daily principles that turned into the smallest actions that I could take to change my life. And by doing that, the exercise made space for me to continue to activate some of the lessons that I've learned from a few of the books that I've mentioned to you today. And so the thing is, listen, y'all, if you want to change your life at this moment, you got to change something you do daily. And you have to create the space for that change to show up in your life. And so I encourage you to get moving in a positive way, even if it's just 2 minutes or 20 minutes or 10 minutes of your day. And listen, most people will think I can't possibly change my life or change my mindset in 2 minutes, 10 minutes, or 20 minutes. But just imagine if you took 2 minutes, 10 minutes, or 20 minutes out of your day for 5 days over the next year. Imagine what a different person you would be by next year this time. Imagine the fact that you would be closer to who you want to be next year this time versus sitting around thinking about who you'd like to be for a whole hour, right? But anywho, I just wanted to help y'all get out of your funk. And you know what's so crazy? As I'm helping you to get out of your funk, guess what? I think I done got myself out of mine. I appreciate y'all for listening. We're going to be all right. If you take anything from me today, please know that it happens for the best of us. More often than not, I believe I wake up with a positive and healthy mindset along with some actions. But every now and then, I just got to learn how to sit in it. Stop beating yourself up. Take the smallest action you can take today. Allow yourself to be human. Talk soon.